I think I could have done a better job of kind of regaining my cool, but that's like the fire and passion that just gets me going. I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard. And he told me it was disrespectful to the game of.
Dave Portnoy called it one of the worst technicals in basketball history. Fans are furious. Players are confused. We're diving into the Caitlin Clark technical foul drama and what it reveals about the WNBA's future. Since this occurrence has altered the game, let's analyze it. Consider this. Caitlin Clark, the most talented player in the WNBA, misses a three-point try. Frustrated, she bangs against the backboard. Not that big of a deal, is it? Completely untrue. The referee sounds the whistle, and Clark is penalized for a technical foul right away. The plot is told using slow-motion replays. What was Clark's feeling? A little tap that is nearly undetectable in real time, but that brief flash of emotion had a profound effect on her life.
Obviously, you were fiery, there's a lot going on. Can you describe what's going on in your brain at that moment?
And too much. I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard. And he told me it was disrespectful to the game of. I don't know, it reminded me of the technical that I got in college where I said, damn it, where it's like a personal frustration.
Basketball officials don't get it. Did it really need to be technical? No. In the opinion of many. Clark was surprised too. According to her account, I got a technical for basically being mad at myself. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. All athletes may relate to the experience. Why is athletics such a unique sport? Who doesn't feel a strong desire to do better, after all? The referees, however, didn't feel that way. According to their stance, Clark's actions were disrespectful to the game of basketball. Oh, is that correct? Does a player need to be disrespectful in order to show her concern? Several well-known sportsmen and supporters also didn't buy it. The consequences were dire and felt right away. Outrage on social media quickly gained momentum. Fans were furious and wanted explanations. Even well-known sportscaster Dave Portnoy refused to back down from his demand that the officials be removed from their positions or suspended. A single phone call was hardly the only thing on the line. At the heart of this disagreement was the fundamentals of the game. Caitlin Clark isn't just annoyed by this technical foul. This is what keeps her from being amazing. Remind yourself of that. Clark sticks out among the others. She is the WNBA's personification and the driving force behind its extraordinary popularity and viewership.
For the engine for Seattle today, that is a major improvement from Indiana's defense.
The first 3 minutes.
Caitlin's literally like, what?
Her transformation from collegiate superstar to professional celebrity has been an incredible experience. But right now, this could be the catalyst to reverse all of that progress. A single phone call or game is inconsequential. The reputation and expertise Clark has in her field are what make her so fascinating to watch. If Caitlin Clark is made to regulate every feeling, will the Caitlin Clark who has captured the hearts of her followers vanish? What's even worse is that this wasn't your typical technical violation. Clark's goal was his 5th of the season. What purpose does that serve?
What? I punched the padding underneath the goal away from everybody. We'll look at the reaction from that. Dave Portnoy, Barstool, is calling for the refs' jobs.
Because in WNBA competition, a player who receives 7 technical fouls faces a 1-game ban. All of a sudden, Clark is walking a tightrope. After 2 more techs, her time is over. The biggest star in the league is sitting on the sidelines. Think about the effects of that. Caitlin Clark's absence from games is more than just an obvious player loss. Something that many viewers are ignoring is the reason they tune in. Everything collapses. Ticket sales, merchandise sales, TV ratings. For a league that is still making its name in the sports world, that is a big issue. There has been a turning point for the WNBA. The league's struggle to become independent of the NBA faces a significant challenge that might ultimately decide its future. One side of the debate is represented by the laws and rules that uphold justice and order. On the other hand, the players' charm and star power draw in new viewers and broaden the league's appeal. Right in the middle of all of this drama is Caitlin Clark. Talking about Clark's impact on the WNBA is worthwhile. She's not just famous, she's a sensation. Every time Clark performs, there's an electrifying buzz on social media, a surge in television watchers, and sold-out arenas.
It had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with the other team. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. But I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that, so I want to thank him for that.
Because of her, those who had never watched a WNBA game before are now devoted to the sport. That's priceless for a league that's just getting started in the cutthroat world of sports. Consider how that stands in relation to the other players in the league. Take Angel Reese, for instance. She is clearly brilliant, but her influence isn't as great as Clark's. The significance of Clark to the WNBA's growth becomes more apparent with each day that goes by. When Clark performs, there is always a crowd around him. Without her, that is the big question facing the league. This brings us to the main point of the issue. Concerns about the WNBA potentially harming itself have started to surface. They contend that by punishing exceptional players like Clark so harshly, the league is endangering its own financial stability, maintaining the authenticity of the game while allowing for the star power necessary for development is a tightrope to tread. And pundit on television stated, "Never left unless Caitlin Clark walks up and punches somebody directly in the damn face. They should be doing everything possible to make sure she sees a basketball court." It's a big assertion, but it reflects the growing sentiment among experts and advocates. Due to technical fouls, Clark ought to be on the field, representing his league rather than sitting on the sidelines. But from this point on, things become more complicated. Some appear to think that there's more going on here than just strict execution of the rules. Is jealousy being alluded to, or is Clark's impact on the popularity of the sport being underappreciated? Within the basketball community, there's a muttering about a private matter. Remind yourself of that. In terms of buzz, broadcast viewership, and new fan acquisition, Clark leads the league. She's climbing the ranks of women's basketball fast. Is that the reason for any conflict that exists behind the scenes? Does anyone in the WNBA feel uneasy with her rapid rise to fame? No matter how sensitive the topic is, it needs to be brought up. If the WNBA wants to thrive going forward, it needs to celebrate its stars instead of suppressing them. The league has shown that women's basketball is worthy of attention through its fight for recognition. Will they permit strict interpretations of the rules to detract from a player who is already garnering national interest? There is a delicate balance in the WNBA, and everyone is anxious about Caitlin Clark's situation. What would happen if the league's most promising player received a suspension? The possibility of declining viewership could cause network executives to become anxious, and it's not even about skipping a few games. Social media is already being used by supporters to vent their resentment and make threats to quit watching if Clark isn't playing. Imagine yourself watching a WNBA game and expecting to see one of Clark's spectacular plays, only to find a seat empty. It impedes the league's advancement in addition to frustrating fans. It's probable that ticket sales and TV ratings will decline along with the WNBA's advancement. It may vanish faster than a Clark three-point shot, but Caitlin Clark and the WNBA aren't the only parties engaged in this. Consequently, a growing number of people are starting to question the overall worth of women's sports. Does too strict officiating help or hinder the growth of female athletes? The impression it sends to the world about women's sports seriousness and competitiveness is one advantage of holding them to high standards. On the other hand, if those strict regulations are keeping out the athletes who are drawing in new fans, are we really making things worse for ourselves? Sports analysts' opinions are as divided as a tie in the last minutes of a match. Some believe that the league's top focus should be protecting its stars. One analyst underlined, the WNBA should be doing everything possible to make sure Clark sees a basketball court. They fear that without the support of its biggest stars, the league won't be able to draw in new viewers. Many people think that giving athletes preferential treatment could have negative effects. In what way does it teach aspiring athletes something? You don't have to follow the rules if you're not renowned enough, right? The WNBA is right in the heart of this difficult balancing act. Many fans are also voicing their wish for a middle ground solution. Their respect for the game's regulations coexists with their want to see their favorite athletes compete. As one fan put it, "We need fair officials if we want Clark to play. It is impossible for you to have it both ways." All of this highlights the unique challenges faced by female athletes. In a world where women's sports continue to fight for equal recognition and respect, every choice has greater consequences. Clark plays for more than just herself and her team. She plays for the hopes and dreams of an entire league. That kind of pressure would be felt by any athlete, but it would be especially felt by one who was just starting out professionally. Women athletes have usually had to work twice as hard to receive half the credit. They are not just athletes, they are trailblazers in a field that has historically been controlled by men. When a star like Clark emerges, it is affirming more than it is exciting. It demonstrates to the general public that sporting events featuring women are just as thrilling, competitive, and attention-grabbing as those shows involving men. But more eyes equals closer examination. Everybody observes Clark's every move and quickly forms opinions based on her feelings. Her contagious passion, which adds to the entertainment value of her games, is ultimately becoming her undoing. Not only does Clark have to navigate this fine line between showing off her competitive spirit and abiding by often unfair expectations of behavior, but female athletes in many sports must also do the same.